name is Shafiq, and I'll be representing Dr. Zawedde Aminah, who is the PI. She's currently not able to make it to this workshop. The output from this work was a quality assessment tool for e-services, and it's hinged around the e-services that our country has that are facing a high failure rate. As you might know, when you go to the passport office, there are so many queues that you find there. The driving permit offices. So we're trying to develop a system that can enhance the processes, the business processes of these processes. So I'll take you through the background to the project and what assessment of e-services for quality is, the aims, the methods, the roadmap, and the outputs. As you might know, if you have gone through the third national development plan, which is the third in this series, e-services are recognized as a fulcrum for national development and economic development. However, it also recognizes that there is a high failure rate of e-services due to a number of reasons, and among those is the poor quality of e-services that are being delivered to Ugandans. So, a brief about quality assessment is that when you assess e-services for quality, it enables continuous improvement, and also it informs policy and people in managerial positions to inform improvement of these e-services. And it has also been mentioned that the digital assessment tools have potential to enable digital governance, which also is in line with the third national development plan, where government is fronting e-services to enable economic development and also ease service delivery in Uganda, and in the long run improve the quality of life of citizens of Ugandans. So, as I mentioned, the problem is hinged on the high failure rates of e-services. That is, failure not in terms of project implementation or completion, but in terms of uptake. These e-services are developed, but they are not being utilized. We are facing, government is facing uptake issues all over the country. This also means that the government funds, human resources, time is also that is spent on these services is wasted. We also in time get poor service delivery, where NDAs are ineffective many of the times and inefficient. So this research sought out to develop a model for assessing quality of e-services in Uganda, and we had three objectives. The first being determining factors that are needed to develop such a model, and then developing the model, and then validating that model, as you'll see ahead. So the project took on activities like, of course, we conceptualized the problem, the idea, and everything. When we started, we did a pilot in national water, sewage corporation, which has among the highest utilized e-services in the country. So we did data collection all across the country. It was electronic. In the customers of National Water and Sewage Corporation. We did analysis, which informed the model development. Then we did the system development. The system was developed using the model as the template, so the system that assesses quality is based on the model. We had the model and the system validated by industry experts from the National IT Authority and other MDAs like the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. And we did a dissemination workshop, I think in last year, no, in 2021. And we have outputs such as a dissertation and 2 research papers. So the major outputs include a model for assessing quality, as you'll see, and then the system, which you can access, as I'll show you ahead, and then a thesis, which was done by me, and actually awaiting graduation, the coming graduation. And then we submitted 2 papers to the Journal of Service Research and the Journal of electronic service quality. We'll take you through the methods a bit. Definitely we used existing policy frameworks such as the National Development Plan 3 and the Digital Uganda Vision, the e-government interoperability framework, and the e-government architecture framework to develop parameters or constructs that are fit for a model for assessing quality of Ugandan e-services. When I talk about e-service, I mean services like paying for your water service online, applying for your passport online, applying for permits online, and all that. Yeah, so an electronic questionnaire was rolled out all across the country, from all the regions of the country, where national water is represented. So national water was used as a sample MDA at the time. And then we collected more than 781 responses, which gave us a good data for analysis and also for ensuring that our results are concrete for developing the model, which later informed the tool. The validation was done still with industry experts, as you can see ahead. So the tool and the model were validated. We established requirements. These are the parameters that are part of that model from prior research and in the context of our country. So our contribution was in addition of 3 key constructs of feedback, quality assurance, and user experience, the last 3. Then the existing ones, we combined 2 models from researchers from the University of Athens and the University of Miami. So the model looks something like this, but each of these has a detailed parameters under it. When you look at efficiency, you're talking about how easy a system is to use, how accessible it is. Then you talk about reliability. Is it available all the time, 99% of the time? When you talk about fulfillment, you talk about does it meet the expectations? If you want to pay for water today, will you actually pay and get the service in time? When you talk about trust, you're talking about people do not know what their personal information is used for. If you give your land titles and your documents when you're applying for water connection, what is actually this information used? So such things influence the uptake of these services. User support includes things like when you need help, is there someone to assist you in real time? Then feedback involves having tools to enable feedback from end users to guide improvement of the services. Of course, quality assurance includes determining defects and preventing them before they happen in future. And a good user experience involves having a service that is easy to use. So the model was validated with industry experts. We had walkthroughs with experts from the University, College of Computing, from the National IT Authority, and many other government MDAs who are IT experts, heads of departments in these institutions who are consulted to give their opinion on what the model does and what the system does, and also to see whether it's a model that is needed for our country. So most importantly, the tool produces PDF reports that inform an MDA of their e-service and produces a quality score on what things should be improved in the future. So if you say, where do we want to be in the next 6 months? So you come 6 months and then you project where you'd like to be, and then the system will produce parameters based on the inputs that you've entered. Some of the things that the system does is, of course, it enables one to input MDAs, adding e-services, like adding the water service or the driving permit service, and then carrying out assessment of e-service quality, then generating those reports that are key for policy and decision making for top management. Produces visualization reports which are very easy to interpret. So the system is available at that URL, and the usernames are shown here, which can be, I can provide them later. So that's the dashboard of the tool. So you have all these services entered. Once you log in, you're able to see them. And then such reports are produced by the system. And most importantly, as I mentioned, the dissertation was produced from this work, and I'm actually awaiting graduation, this coming graduation, and 2 papers were produced. So some of the beneficiaries include the National IT Authority, which has been implementing the e-government enterprise architecture, where a model for assessing quality was very necessary and it's been implemented in there. Then the Ministry of ICT National Guidance, which is currently run by Dr. Zawedde, who was the PI. The President appointed her when we were almost finished the project, as the PS of ICT Ministry. And then other MDAs can use this to assess the quality of their e-services. Then the constructs that were produced can be used by other researchers who are in the same field. I would like to appreciate Carnegie and BRGT and National Water, where the data was collected largely, and other MDA experts who participated in this, and definitely the policy arm of government, the Lutaaya and Ministry of ICT for ICT implementation in our country. Yeah, so some of the recommendations are the National IT Authority operationalizing this model, and then the Ministry providing policy framework that is necessary to implement this all across government, and then MDAs working with the Ministry and the National IT Authority to implement this across the country. Yeah, thank you so much. That's what we had.